playing our first show until like late 2021, but it was still kind of like not too much happening at that time. And then we kicked it into 2022 and 2023, playing a lot of like local shows and kind of just been building off of that momentum. And then this year we got our first opening slot for the band Blackstone Cherry earlier this summer. We played at a venue here called Ram's Head in Baltimore, Maryland, where we are based out of. And that was really fun. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man, for sure. Yeah, no, Rams Head Live is an absolute great venue. You know, I love it. We're big fans of it. You know, we definitely go to like a lot of shows in there. I know they're trying to kind of figure out their situation a little bit from what I hear, which is unfortunate. But I have heard good things about it being kept as a live music venue. So, you know, fingers crossed. We can only hope that definitely is a thing for sure. And so it's definitely a great venue, and we definitely love, you know, rocking out with that. When it came to like putting together the band, you know, you talked about it, you know, starting off as a 2020 project to get going. What was kind of your thought process around the band and like, you know, what you were looking to do for it?
So Krapf started off as a solo project with just me at the time. So that first record that we released in 2020 was called Seasick, and I tracked all of the vocals, guitar, bass, and drums on that project. So it was very like personal, very just had me over it. So my first name's Isaac, my last name's Krapf. That's where Krapf came from, like the band name. And it was originally just called Isaac Krapf at that point. But after that first record, getting involved in the music scene around Baltimore and whatnot, I realized I am not a bassist. I'm not a drummer. There's better guitar players than me. So I need to surround myself with some kick-ass musicians and really like try to elevate this more. So right now my role is the front man of the band and the primary songwriter, but it's definitely been a more collaborative effort starting from like 2021 and on. And like I said, mostly just came from the realization of me needing like my musicianship capabilities only go so far on drums, bass, and guitar. So I'm like, I need some players in here.
Absolutely, for sure. And how did you go about like looking for the other, you know, cogs in your machinery to get the sound that you wanted and the live spectacle? What did you know, reach out to people you played with before, or word of mouth through like friends or colleagues and stuff like that, or you know, the old, you know, like music, you know, sites like anybody looking for bands kind of thing? Like, how did you go about finding your band?
Yep. So very boots on the ground. So very much in the Baltimore, Maryland, and the surrounding like counties has a very like active like cover gig scene. So I've done a lot of just rock cover band type stuff, and pretty much all of the band members came out of that circuit from different other varying like projects and whatnot. And you know, as a conversation starts with anyone, start talking about music, starting about what's your passions, what are you working on? You ever want to like write original music and have like a go at it? And so it kind of like picked one guy from here, one guy from this scene. So it's we make up a kind of a diverse group. So the genre is definitely more like rock and metal, but the drummer of the band comes from that like church, gospel, funk background. The other guitar player is more of like a jazz guy, and then the bass player is more of a rock. So it just speaks to the diversity of like the city, of like just the styles that are played. So when it all comes together, you get Krapf.
Absolutely, man. 100%. Angel, let's kick it up to you, my good friend. Always great to see you, man. Let's give you some time.
Same here. I was just amazed because the band is from Baltimore, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. Because you know, Jay's from the Baltimore scene, and you know, Baltimore is like a second home, so to speak. So I'm kind of familiar with the scene where you always see the same people there rocking, and it's just, you know, the fan base there is just always awesome. So with the whole thing with Rams Head Live was fucking depressing to hear about, you know, the closing, because it holds a special place. I'm pretty sure to your heart, Jay, mine as well. So just curious to know, for people that don't know about that Baltimore scene, what's that scene like down there for those that have not experienced it?
So there's a couple different venues which are like the staples in the Baltimore scene that have been here for years, and Rams Head Live, which is what you mentioned, was one of them. So especially from going from a local band aspect and trying to like really blow up the original music as much as we can, venues like Rams Head Live, Baltimore Soundstage, the Fillmore and Silver Spring area, for those who are familiar with this area, are like kind of the staples of like they have a ton of touring band traffic coming through, and these venues also try to connect with the local scenes of the bands here that are trying to do something with their original music and trying to get like a shot like on a bigger stage. So when you get that opportunity to go on that stage and open up for a larger name touring band that comes through, these are the venues that you play at. And because they're still trying to connect with the local scene, but at the same time bring in those touring bands. So they're almost like a bridge. So to your point, Angel, about this particular venue, Rams Head, is moving out of the area, and it's been here for years. It hurts. So hopefully something else comes in and kind of fills that void. But yeah, so it's sad to hear, but it was a great venue. And then especially for us, it's like we just got an opportunity to go on and like rock on that stage and everything. I was like, oh shit, it's leaving now.
What's the band dynamic when it comes to songwriting?
So for the most part, it's gotten more collaborative as it's gone on. We're currently tracking a new record right now, and so the lyrics are pretty much exclusively written by me, but the other guitar parts, the bassists, and the drums have been written by the other band members. So I'll kind of give them like a broad like outline of what my vision is with the song, but then it kind of like moves in different directions. So for like a verse or a chorus section, I'll be like, hey, I want double time here or half time here. However you make that sound, great, but this is like the groove that I'm looking for.
Awesome. So can we expect that next year with the new record? And is it going to be an album or EP?
Yep. So it's going to be a album. It's going to have 10 songs on it, and we're going to release a few singles off of it leading up to the full release of the record. And it's going to be next year. Most likely stuff will probably start dropping in mid-March, early April, and then just kind of ride out into the spring and summer at that point. Yeah, we actually, for this one, I'm super excited about it, and I just started talking about it, but we actually have a session drummer on this record that I'm super pumped to collaborate with. It's Ryan Van Puderoin from the Devin Townsend Project, and his current band, A Monolith. So I'm super psyched to have his like chops on the record behind the guitars and other aspects of the music that we're doing.
So I haven't had a few records underneath your belt. Does it get easier or harder to make that next record?
Creativity wise, for me, easier. Financially, harder.
Yeah, just curious to know about that, because we know that people say, "Oh, the music business is dead. There's no such." But I kind of tell people with bands, bands don't get free gas. When you guys go through the tolls, or got to pull up to the gas station, or got to get to buy instruments, nobody is saying, "Hey, you guys are a band. Here's free guitars. Here's free this or that." So So I just wanted to just talk about that aspect of the music business per se, if you don't mind.
So I'm no expert. I'm still trying to find like my way like through the music industry as well. But from my experience, anything that you can do music related to walk away with money, do it. So a lot of the funding that I've put back into the band for photography or video or recording, mixing, mastering has all come from me playing cover gigs in the local scene. So doing those 3 4 hour sets on the weekend at the bars and private gigs, doing lessons, whether you're like teaching guitar online or in person. If you have any experience working a DAW and doing like demo recording, so maybe not like super proficient, like I don't know like studio or anything, but hey, I can track like some demos for you, or transcribing music and putting in like tab notation like that. So any aspect that somebody is like willing to pay you to do music, to kind of dump back in music for your passion, for buying that guitar, for tracking that record, that's kind of what you have to do.
Now, you guys started in 2020.
Yeah.
So, I mean, COVID happens. How do you maintain the band together? And just curious to know during that time, like what was going through your mind? In
Well,
2020?
yeah, for me, it was just like, all right, I just spent money getting this track recorded, mixed, mastered, and dropped in. I can't even like play any like shows or kind of like promote it. But, it is what it is. Nothing like we could do about it at that time. But it's left us like a catalog of repertoire and songs that has kind of what you mentioned earlier about, has the songwriting process gotten easier or harder? And I think with any skill, I think like songwriting and like crafting music is kind of like a skill that you kind of work on. So when you go through tracking a record the first time, there's things that you would do differently than when you did it that first time, just because with anything, it just comes with like the experience of doing it. Just like if you start doing like cover gigs or something, and that first show that you do, you're not going to like rock out the whole night. You're going to have mistakes, be flubbing. You're going to try to gauge the room and see if they're responding or not. And those are all elements that add to the development of the record, of the songwriting, of your live performance, and all that translates to the original band, Krapf, and just trying to chug away with that. So it is, like you said, you couldn't really do anything at the time, but you're sitting on all that experience and backlog of catalog, and it kind of just invigorates you and wants you to move forward with, okay, we're sitting on this is what I liked what we did, this is what I didn't like what we did, and how do we make it better going forward, if that is fair.
No, that's fair to say. Um, as a songwriter, and I ask this question because I'm always curious to the answer. Do you ever finish a song? The song is mastered, completed, and do you ever go back and say, "Man, I need to change this, or I need to change that," or are you just satisfied with the finished song?
I would say there's not a song that we have out on streaming platforms that I'm not proud of. There are some songs that maybe at the time I wish I had more like financial capital to invest in, maybe like some more like production work, or I wish I had some more time in the studio, because a lot of time when you are booking the studios, you're booking like certain block times or an amount of hours, and it's just like, as you're managing the time going through the studio, you have to be smart with how you're spending it, because once your budget's up, once all the merch you sold for that year is gone, and you're like, hey, this is the capital we got, this is what we're doing, you kind of have to just come to terms with, hey, this is the product, I'm proud of what we were able to do with the product, But for the next one, how do we make it better? How do we have better use of our time, better use of our finances in the studio going forward to make sure that we're really portraying what we want to get across with the music and the songs that we wrote.
If you don't mind, talking about, what were your influences growing up?
So it's interesting. Well, I primarily grew up not exposed to a ton of music until like high school and like out of high school and whatnot. I grew up heavily in the contemporary like Christian church scene. So that's primarily a large like catalog of what I listened to. But then as I, got older, got exposed to all like the rock, the metal, the blues, the jazz, hip hop, rock. So I'm just like absorbing like all this kind of music. And what really like influenced me early on is like some like old school like Ronnie James Dio, Richie Blackmore songs. So like Rainbow, Dio, early Black Sabbath stuff. And then fast forwarding into bands like System of a Down, Rise Against, and I really, really enjoyed Devin Townsend, Strapping Young Lad, and another band called the Gaslight Anthem. So a little all over the place with music influences, but yeah, those are some of them.
Awesome. Jake, I'm going to kick it right back up to you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, Isaac, I'd love to circle back to 2020 because I'd love to talk a little bit about the Seasick record because I really like the album a lot. And I wanted to start it off by kind of asking about like the design of the album because to somebody who's checking out the album before listening to it, when you're looking at the track list, it definitely has that, Lost at Sea kind of feel to it. You've got Maiden, you've got a Harbor, Overboard, all these tracks, let alone Seasick as well, to automatically just kind of get you thinking. Is that the message? Would they be correct in looking at it that way? As it's a story to tell about that kind of like Pirates, Caribbean, traveling overseas feel to it? Is that what the design was to be?
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, and thank you for thinking about that. It's definitely a very like nautical themed like title and like landscape. So through all of the music, starting with Seasick, I'm trying to keep like reoccurring themes and images and almost like a story traveling through, because being the primary like songwriter of the lyrics and just overall mood and vibe, a lot of it is like very personal to me and what I'm trying to portray. So that particular record started off with the nautical oceanic like theme. And to me, I personally am not like scared, but I'm not super comfortable around like big bodies of water and just like water in general and just like swimming and whatnot. And the I guess the point that I was going for with like the ocean and Maiden, Harbor, all those like words was that the ocean to me, and I guess for a lot of people and for a long time in the history of humanity, it embodies the unknown. And there's a lot of just like mystery surrounding it, whether you're in like the deep waters or just like the calm of the sea, but then it can be like very raging at one point. Yeah. And that kind of like translates to the start of my music journey in the writing original music. Like there's going to be a lot of unknowns in this process, and we're just kind of navigating our way through it, telling like my story. So that's kind of where the influence of that ties into what I was going for.
Absolutely, man. No, that's awesome. I mean, the artwork is also really, really cool for that as well. And do you design like, the artwork as well when it comes to the record? Do you have somebody that you work with that you kind of give ideas for design?
So it's all been commissioned work. And the first record, Seasick, was commissioned out. Their name escapes me at the moment, but it will come back to me. And then the second record also was commissioned out to somebody different, but starting on the third record, and every like single and remastered track I've had from that point on has been done by a lady named Kayleen. I'll shoot you her like social media at some point, and she does the primary graphic design for all the artwork going forward. But starting with Seasick, there's like this main like female apparition character that appears on all of our artwork. So just kind of keeping the theme of like recurring images and story and whatnot. So Kayleen is who does all of our artwork right now.
Oh, right on, man. Awesome. And no, it definitely, like you said, followed through, into Gates with, the silhouette and the arch with the, and I love the contrast of colors too between the two records, where you've got that, darker, got the kind of sea green kind of feel to it, but then you've got, Gates, where you've got oranges, you've got reds, you've got so much a little bit more brighter, like popping color to it. But the one thing that also kind of started making me chuckle a little bit off our conversation a moment ago, where you were talking about the nautical themes for Seasick, and then you've got Adrift on Gates.
Yeah, back to it. It all circles back. I don't know, it's just like I said, it's the fascination of like water and oceans and nautical themes with me, and it just being the unknown. And I feel just like that resonates with who I am right now, and the musical journey that I'm on, of just there being a lot of unknown and a lot of like calm when the ocean or sea is calm, but also a lot of intensity when it's just really buckling out there.
Absolutely, for sure. And I love what you were talking about, currently with like the female like entity being like kind of a visual focal point for each of your records. And, it's not uncommon for bands to have like a character that becomes like their mascot, or something that becomes like a focal point. Is that something that you've thought about, or is that something that, could be too early to tell overall, but like, is that something you've thought about, or something that you would like to be able to maybe keep going, where you have that centralized type character that appears even to the point where maybe they even become like an Easter egg in the record, where you have to spot them, Where's Waldo style?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. I love it because I feel like to me, I think it helps build the brand and just kind of associates certain projects with certain things. Just like a lot, like what you said, a lot of other artists have recurring images like Iron Maiden and whatnot. It's just like you notice the skeleton like everywhere. So it just kind of brings like just association to it. And yeah, I fully intend to keep it going, whether it's more of an Easter egg like you said, or more like upfront in the forefront.
Love it. And just for fun, does she currently have a name?
She does not.
Okay.
To be determined.
Come on, Metal Summoners, that's your cue. Oh, that'd be super cool. It's something
That'd be sick, yeah.
to see how that plays out, for sure. Absolutely. Angel, let me bop it over to you, my friend. Looks like we've got also a couple of fan questions popping on. Just to let all you guys know, keep the questions coming in. Anything that you want Isaac to talk about, he's more than happy to answer your questions as well. We do have them on limited time tonight, so we just want to let you guys know about that up front, to kind of keep it in your brains, to make sure that you get your questions in and stuff. But we still got them for a little while longer. We're going to rock out. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Make sure that you pump in those questions.
If you had to credit one musician, one band with inspiring you to pursue music, who would it be?
Oh, man. I'll give you one musician and one band. So I briefly talked about them earlier. Huge sucker for the artist Devin Townsend and his music, and his time with Steve Vai in the early days, and Strapping Young Lad, and even his solo stuff now. Super inspirational. If you have not gotten into his discography, it's all over the place, but it's kind of a look inside his mind, I guess. So definitely worth checking out. Um, a musician would be probably both of my guitar teachers. One local guy named Rob Winter, and another guy based out of Washington D.C. called John Lee, who were very encouraging early on with the development of me learning how to play guitar and theory and whatnot, and just having a go at it, whether you're doing the original music, songwriting, cover gigs, all aspects of it.
I'm just curious. The guitar in the background behind you.
It's my sticker guitar.
Oh.
I actually don't really like play this one much, but it's just got a bunch of stickers from various like local bands in the Baltimore scene on it. And yeah, it's got, for the guitar nerds out there, there's no brand here, but it is a Warmoth neck, and it is a super wide neck. So it's got a lot of just thickness to it.
So when it comes to gear, what do you prefer to play when it comes to gear?
Primarily for me, guitar wise, I gravitate toward Charvels. Just because the necks are, I'm a sucker for that super like Strat classic feel, but a little bit more like hot rodded. So I primarily use Charvels, and I get them worked on by a local guy in Baltimore City called Phil Jacoby, who works on a lot of local musician artists in Baltimore. And he does phenomenal work with just installing like pickups, doing wiring, and just setting the guitars up and making them play and feel really good. And amplification wise, I use the Hughes and Kettner amps and like floorboards that they have, if you've ever seen or heard of them. But they're like the blue amps. It's like blue LEDs, Hughes and Kettner. They're very like eye popping, and that's kind of like what gravitated me to them, because I'm all about visual. I'm like, okay, does it look cool first, and then does it sound good? If it looks cool, maybe I can convince myself it sounds good. But you know, they put out great stuff anyway.
Edgar, Edgar. I don't even know who the hell Edgar A. Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, he's like the Baltimore famous like Baltimore poet. He wrote the poem "The Raven," I think it was called, and a couple other things. But it's like very like dark stuff, like about murder and whatever. But he's a local guy. I forget what years he was around Baltimore, but it was like definitely like old, like a couple hundred years probably.
Yeah.
I need to look him up after. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment.
Because I was looking at the name. I'm like, I haven't heard that since high school.
Yeah, you definitely heard it in high school.
And high school for me was like the 90s.
It's funny.
You yourself, is there your opinion, what was like the best era of rock music?
Right now, there's a lot of once again, there's a really, really cool amount of Baltimore bands right now that sound really good. But even on the broad scheme of things, I'm trying to stay like current with, because you know there's always like give praise to what's been before and what's already been done, because it's made the musicians and bands are now. But you know, I know we're also not like comfortable people, but we like always going back to what we've heard before and how it made us feel. But there's so many good bands out there right now on tour trying to do it and make it in the music industry. And yeah, I think like for example, there's a band that I just saw over the holiday called Zeal and Ardor, and they're a black metal band. But the stuff that they're putting out and doing, it's like a blend of African spiritual and black metal, and the way that it comes together is super just original. It doesn't sound like anything else, and they're like getting like more popular and whatnot. But check them out. They're a national act. They tour and do whatever. But yeah, they just released a new record as well. Zeal and Ardor. Check them out. Very cool stuff.
Nice.
And just you guys got a show coming up in January.
Yep. January 18th.
Yep. That's
we are opening for Paul Reed Smith and his band Eight Lock, which Paul Reed Smith, for the music nerds out there, is the guy who created PRS guitars. And so it's a very popular guitar brand. You walk in any Guitar Center or music store, they'll have all the Fenders, the Gibsons, and then there will probably be a section of PRS guitars. So their band is a mix of like rock, blues, and funk. So we're one of the openers for their bill, and that is at a venue called The Wrecker in Towson, Maryland. So it'll be really cool opening up for him. And yep, 8-Lock, PRS. It'll be really cool opening up for him, and hopefully be able to chat for him a bit and talk about his musical journey creating a powerhouse guitar company that is played by musicians all over the world.
I know the one cool thing that we're seeing is we had Andy Henson on the show, so he's kind of from like Virginia, but
Okay.
I'm kind of seeing more and more that is okay, like a place like Bar 13 is becoming like a place for bands from Baltimore to actually play that want to venture further up north. Then you got a couple of venues down in Virginia as well, past Annapolis. So just, like what you was mentioning, like that whole scene is just like expanding. And when you go to Bar 13, you see the same fans. And it's just awesome to kind of see that rock scene because it's almost like a family reunion type, whether you're seeing whatever band you're actually going to see. So it's good to see people supporting rock music. So I definitely hope that, like I said, people come out, check you guys out, and you guys venture further up north. So like, let's say Jersey. But hell, I mean, I love Baltimore. I always find an excuse to go down to Baltimore just to hang out with Jay. So,
Oh,
so touching.
But touching. But you love it when those bands come up to your Jersey way there, Angel.
of course I do. I'm never going to complain about that. But hell, I mean, it's Baltimore is still special to me because of Kicks. I did the interview for Metal Sleep in 2015, and this was before I met Jay. So Baltimore still has that metal connection to me. So
Right. No, I agree. It seems like, I mean, everything that comes back around at some point, and I think especially for like local music, people are getting like hungry for it again, and really like trying to invest in bands, like new original bands or newer, more unknown original bands that are trying to get more like present. So that it feels really good to like see, and that people are coming back out and just, hey, let's go see a band tonight I've never heard of. And then that's honestly how we've met like a lot of people. They just like are in the wrong place, right time, or right place, wrong time. I don't know.
Right, no, that's the best thing to do because people will spend $400 to go see a Motley Crue, a band you already know with.
Yeah.
Look, for like $400 to me, I can spend that money going to see your band, buying a shirt, hotel, parking, and have a lot more fun.
That's all. Appreciate that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that Angel and I have talked about when it comes to that kind of stuff. Is also one of the points that he was making was like you'll get fans that'll spend this absorbent amount of money to go see these legendary bands. And don't get me wrong, they're legendary for a reason, but it's like
Yeah.
you got to remember, like, you got to be willing to spend a couple of bucks to see the local, and regional acts that are going to keep the genre going past these bands, and become the next, future legendary bands and stuff like that. And that's always something I think kind of gets lost on the general populace a little bit, where they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I necessarily want to go out tonight. I got work, or I got this, or I got that, but oh man, I can't wait for this VIP experience that I have with like so and so in like a week. And it's like, seriously, dude, like
Yeah.
it's a $12 ticket, to go to like Fishhead Canteen or something, which is another venue that I love, or this one also in like the Towson area as well, called Zen West, that I'm a big fan of. Love that place.
Yeah. I've been to Zen West a lot. Know the owner there. Great dude, great people. Yepo.
Love him. He's so great. Absolutely, for sure. And there was one other thing that I wanted to touch base on real quick before we circle around the table one more time, Isaac, because we definitely appreciate your time this evening and want to allow you to be able to enjoy the rest of your evening and relax as well. As you've got the new record coming out soon, and you're working on that, putting the final touches on it. One of the things that I noticed that I thought was also kind of cool was you released a series of singles throughout this past year, kind of remastered, versions of your previous work, from various records. And I just wanted to ask you, kind of pick your brain a little bit on like what was kind of your thought process like for that, because Angel had talked a little bit about, do you ever revisit songs because you feel they're incomplete, or were these maybe songs that you wanted to like polish up a little bit more, or just kind of put different spins on them? What was kind of your thought process between like The Hollow and Seasick and so on?
Yeah. Great question. So it was kind of like whenever you release new music on Spotify, Apple Music, etc., there's always like a boost in however their algorithms work in like directing like traffic to you. Because if you don't release anything for a while, I don't want to say like your accounts get like shadow banned, but it's like it's not as likely to get recommended to new people or to cycle into playlists and whatnot. So similar to what Angel was talking about, we're sitting on a lot of like songs that kind of like were backlogged, or really, to me, didn't get the exposure that they might have deserved when they were released in 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic, and you really couldn't promote or do anything with it. So those remastered songs were from that era, just got a little like facelift with the remastered aspect to enhance the sound quality of it. Got some artwork done for them to just continue building on the brand and the theme and the reoccurring images, and started to release them to drive some traffic back into our Spotify, Apple Music, our algorithms, give us something to talk about on social media, and give buzz to this new record and this new music that we're doing.
Oh, nice, man. Very, very cool. If you can look currently just kind of into your like crystal ball for 2025, what would be your current goals that you have for this upcoming year?
We'll make it to New Jersey. So we want to release the record, drop some kick-ass music videos with it, do some promotion, try to shop around with some either promotion companies or like some label companies, see if they want to bite on anything. And ideally, because we've primarily just played around Baltimore and started getting like some buzz to open up for like the national act Black Cemetery earlier this year, opening up for Paul Reed Smith from PRS Guitars. So just bring notoriety to us. So the goal is to continue opening up, or to be like when a touring band comes through like Baltimore and they need an opener, I want Krapf to be the name that's like thrown out to them of like, hey, these guys will open up for you. And then beyond that, maybe do like a small East Coast tour to hit up some venues and make some connections with some other great bands. And just play as much music as we can, do it as long as we can, and the best thing to me is just meeting people and just hearing their experiences and their passions and connecting in relationships. That's the music's great, but the relationships and all that is what drives me to continue doing it, because it's great when you connect with those scenes and those people.
Absolutely, for sure. Angel, let me kick it up to you there, my friend.
Okay, I want to show you something.
Hi,
I'm ready.
What's up there, me?
But Mike, go. I was doing some Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
$25.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Luckily, I only got one person on my Christmas list, which is me.
Nice.
For those of you wanting to do Christmas shopping for $25, this shirt will look good on you, your uncle, girlfriend, mistress, whoever the hell is special in your life. For 25
Love it.
bucks. Show them you love them for Christmas. And Brian, I know you love t-shirts. I know you're watching. So here's a cool t-shirt that you can get for somebody or for yourself. Comes in all sizes. I love
You're
this.
hired.
Man, send me your address or PO box. I'll ship you one.
I'm actually buying it. Look, I love to support music. But I do have one suggestion though.
I'm ready.
Next year when you guys come out with the record, have like a record release party. And I could definitely come down, host it, because I'm always looking for an excuse to get the fuck out of Jersey.
Hell yeah.
It's boring.
It's boring.
It's boring.
So
Yeah,
I need to get the hell out,
let's stay in
go to
touch.
the golf course, have some fun, drink a beer.
Yeah. No, hey, let's stay in touch.
I was not going to say the rest of the stuff I like doing, but
that's for the 11 o'clock showing of the Middle Summit.
there you go. Yeah, it's I didn't realize this, but my 13-year-old nephew watches the show, and he had some questions about stuff that I couldn't discuss.
Oh, Angel had to talk about the birds and the bees.
Oh man.
That's too funny. Isaac, I got one more question for you, my friend, before we let you plug some socials and everything. Pavement Entertainment's been very good to me and Angel. You know, they turn us on to great music, you know, yourself included. And how did you get involved with them? Because you were also mentioning, you always want bands to be on the up and up and, see what else is out there to better yourselves, better your colleagues, and better your career. But how did you fall and work with Pavement for the time being?
So shared I'm a part of a bunch of, so a good place to network is on Facebook, Instagram. Facebook has a lot of like musician groups and band groups that everyone's like sharing and exchanging information. And earlier in this year, Pavement was I'm assuming they do this every year, but they accept or they're looking for like submissions from bands and just seeing what people are doing and what's going on. So I submitted to that and got to talking to them a little bit, and they were pushing one of our songs for a little bit, helped us out a lot with some Spotify streams and some social media presence, connected me with people like you, and just been able to talk more about the music. So it's been a positive experience so far.
Awesome, man. Super duper cool. And Isaac, let everybody know, my friend, where can Krapf be found? Where can you be found if you're, down to talk to fans socially, but what's the best way for your music to be heard, shared, and found?
So globally and online, if you look up Krapf, Krapf, and then the word band, BAND, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's the same across the board, Krapf Band. And if you are in or around Baltimore, if you look me up on Instagram or Facebook, my name's Isaac, last name Krapf. You can find me Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes Sundays at various bars and restaurants, shredding guitar tunes and rock and cover nights. So come say hi if you want to say hi in person, or shoot me a message online, and I'm pretty responsive and love to talk.
No, that's awesome, man, Isaac, and we really, really appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time, my friend. Angel, is there anything final from you, sir?
Just want to say, man, this has been a real pleasure. Definitely a new fan. And you know what? that's like the awesome thing about doing what we do. We get to talk to new bands, become fans and friends with them. So, dude, you're welcome to come on anytime. Like I said, next year when you got the new record coming out, dude, feel free to come on the show. If you want me to get the hell out of Jersey, please. I'll be more than happy to host a gig.
Oh yeah.
Record release party. I'll be more than happy to come down and host it, have some fun.
Help get him a Jersey gig. Help get him a Jersey gig.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Get the hell out of Jersey. I'm not trying to watch a gig in Jersey. I'm trying to get down to Baltimore to watch the show.
Dude, you're hilarious, man.
Has really good breakfast that I like to stay at. So, well,
I like
actually,
it.
Dave's restaurant, I like to go for breakfast too.
Fuck yeah.
Super duper awesome. But Isaac, man, thank you so much, man. The biggest thing for myself and Angel is that you enjoyed yourself, you had a good time, you felt respected, and you felt that in any way, shape, or form that your time on our show was able to benefit yourself or your band in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. You both are great. I really appreciate your conversation, your questions, and showing interest in me. And yeah, I would love to stay in touch and make sure I get a link or copy to this so I can share it.
Absolutely, man. We'll definitely make sure that we get that over to you for sure. And, you know, anything that you want to use from this interview, you're more than welcome to. We, again, really appreciate your time and, you know, take care and have yourself a great one. And we'll be in touch, man. Absolutely, for sure. You know, come on anytime you want and just reach out anytime to say what's up and we'll do the same, man.
Awesome. Hey, cheers to you both. Best of luck and talk.
Cheers, man. Thank you as well. Absolutely. We'll definitely talk and see you soon. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you for rocking out with us tonight and showing a lot of love to Isaac, supporting the Krapf band and supporting the Metal Summit. He plugged them, told you where all of the socials can be found. So make sure that you're looking up Krapf band on all of the socials and supporting the current music as well as staying in touch with what's about to come out. You can follow the Metal Summit on Instagram. That's where we put out our guest announcements first. So it's always great that you follow that page. But Facebook and YouTube, you definitely want to make sure you're following those pages because that's where you're looking at Isaac right now, and that's where you guys are watching the show. But you can follow Angel at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram as well as his Facebook page. You can find me at Salem.Vampire on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook as well. And also our behind-the-scenes man, Psycho Steve, is also very, very active. You can follow Steve Pressed Up at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram. You can also follow him at PsychoStevePresents.com. We appreciate you guys so much. Have yourselves an absolutely fantastic weekend, and we'll see you guys in a week. Guest for next week has been confirmed. We'll put the announcement out over the weekend. But on behalf of Isaac Krapf and Krapf Band, on behalf of Angel and myself, thank you, Metal Summoners. We love you guys. Take care. Be good to each other, and we'll see you guys in a week. Take care. Have a great one. See you soon. As always, you've been watching the Metal Summit.